Hey, Facebook, we're going to try this again. I'm going to assume that this must be a good word for someone because this is the third time that I've attempted to start a Facebook Live today. So good morning, everyone. It's Jennifer Allwood. It's Wednesday. It's hotter than you know what outside right now, and yet it's loud inside the house where we've got a construction zone yet today. Actually, you know what? Today we don't have we just have electric work going on. And so wanted to come live real quick. I was just in my Inner Circle doing a live coaching call, which I do every Wednesday inside of Inner Circle. And that's where I coach small business owners on how to use social media and how to use social media to grow their business. So one of the precious women in there, hi, Kristen in Indiana, was asking me about, just the opinions of others. And essentially, we just got into a conversation that I thought was really valuable that I want to bring to my entire Facebook page. Hi, Southern Adornment. You're in my Inner Circle. Actually, this is take 3 because the second take didn't even go. So I don't know what's happening, but we're just going to go with it. But here's what I know. I have the honor and the opportunity to coach hundreds and hundreds of women every month on how to grow their business in the online space. And I love it. I absolutely adore it. It's what I feel like I was meant to do. The common thread that is usually standing in the way between where someone's business is and where they want it to be is often, they'll think it's the tech piece. They'll think it's the lack of a website. They'll think it's the lack of knowledge. They'll think it's the lack of expertise, or that they're needing a bigger platform. And all those things are valid, okay? Totally all valid. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Donna. Hi, Marianne. But the truth is, the majority of our business is built here. So you know that saying that the abs are made in the kitchen? Well, your business is built right here, I promise you. So while all those pieces, having a website, having a social media presence, and all of that is very valuable, what happens in between your two ears every day is even more crucial. And so for those of you who are like, I can't ever get to this size in my business because my platform's too small, or I don't really know what I'm doing yet, or my niche isn't quite right, here's what I want to say to you. More than that, what's keeping you stuck is that you get stuck because you get stuck in your own brain. And often the reason we get stuck there is because we get concerned about, what are people going to think? What is so-and-so going to think? Maybe your mother-in-law has said something that wounded you about a business idea. Maybe your kid said, Mom, are you kidding me? You're freaking 60. What are you doing trying to start a business? Maybe your neighbor told you, oh, I've heard that everybody's out there painting cabinets. Like, aren't you concerned? How are you going to stand out? So sometimes I think well-meaning people will say things out of love that feel like a stab to the heart. Can I get a yes and an amen? And so I think that often when we're craving the approval and the well wishes and the thumbs up from others, and instead we feel like they're giving us the, I don't know, girlfriend, which often validates the very fear that we're feeling ourselves already, then we're like, well, screw it. Screw it. Like, why would I even, when I'm already nervous and this person's over here is validating my nervousness, or I just got a nasty email from an upset client, or I just got a DM on Facebook that hurt my feelings, or I just had a phone call from somebody upset with me, or a complete stranger was talking trash on my, Instagram, or there's always a thing, you guys, I promise you. And here's what I want to talk to you about today. Oh, you just sent me something through Instagram. Yay, I just did IGTV for the first time today. Here's what I know. Joyce Meyer, who I love, has this saying, new level, new devil. And always what happens in business or in life is if we're not growing, we're literally we're backsliding, okay? So while we think that we're just maintaining status quo, unless you can never stay stagnant. So you're either growing or you're lagging and going backwards. And this is in business or in life, right? So in business, you're trying to grow, you're trying to grow, you're trying to grow. I'm also trying to get a stinking manicure today, so ignore the 2 nails that are naked. The naked nails. So while you're trying to grow and you're trying to grow and you're trying to grow, every time that your business takes a little leap, right? Maybe you go ahead and start a business by officially naming it. Maybe you finally get that business Facebook page. Maybe you finally offer an e-course. Maybe you finally hit 10,000 fans. Maybe you finally figure out you've got this vision for where you want to be in 5 years. So you finally are getting to like this new level, right? This new level. Okay, so Joyce Meyer says, new level, new devil. And I've always loved that saying from her, because here's what happens. At every single level, I have this suspicion, and it's just me in my craziness, but this is how I work it out in my own I love Jesus brain, okay? I have this suspicion that at every level that God kind of says, okay, can she handle stuff at this level? Because if she can handle stuff at this level, then we can go ahead and get her the next. If she can be faithful at this level, then I can take her to the next level. But if she can't be faithful and handle it here, how is she going to go to here? So we're going to work on this level, getting her okay with not everybody being on board with what she's doing. And I promise you, this is the way that I feel like it goes. And the enemy always uses people. Thank you for all those hearts and thumbs up and whatever else I'm seeing going across the screen. I'm practically blind out here because it's 5 million degrees. Why am I sitting outside on the hottest day of the year? I don't know. It's loud outside. Also, somebody has a car alarm going off on that street. They really need to. Hi there. We've got golfers. And they're wondering why I'm talking to a square thing. And so I think that we should not be surprised when we are feeling resistance in the form of people. Now listen, sometimes the things that the people may be saying, and when I say people, they may be in your own house, they may be in your family, they may be in your neighborhood, they may be in your business, they may be complete strangers on the internet who should not have access to your brain, okay? But so when people seem to be not on board, I think that often as human beings, we would like to say, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Okay, that's BS. Words hurt. Words were designed to have impact. And so one of the reasons I come on Facebook like this and talk to you guys is I try to always do it too when I personally am feeling wounded by the words of others. Because I know that the concept of reaping and sowing is just undeniable. And so I am going to sow words of faith, words of life, words of encouragement, words of whatever, and I know I will reap that back, even when I'm getting my own BS from other people, okay? So listen. What the heck was my point? Gosh, it's hot. Lord have mercy. I can't even think it's so hot. Now I'm having hot flashes on top of it being 500 degrees. Okay, so we'll get words from people, whether it's stranger, whether it's words got back to us from somebody else that so-and-so was saying this about you, whatever the drama is. And our instinct as human beings is to retreat, okay? Now let's say you're a woman, which 99% of you are. Any of you women on here? So let's say you're a woman who were created by God himself to be more sensitive to feeling stuff in general. I mean, to just feelings, okay? So women are very perceptive. And so sometimes we'll perceive what that person meant by that passive aggressive comment, even though they didn't come right out and say it. You guys know what I'm talking about? All right, so you may be sitting at dinner and your sister say XYZ, and she may have said it in a nice way, but basically she was just saying, well, I hope if that business thing doesn't take off that you sure have a way of going back to your old job. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And so as women who are feelers, a lot of times then what happens when we get that negative stuff? We instantly want to retreat. Okay, now let's take it one more step. For those of you who are creatives, who can tell me that they're creative on here? And thank you guys for sharing this. I just appreciate you. And I love your face, Lindsay. You're amazing. So if you are a human being and a woman and a creative person, it's like God took the average woman and just shot her with another dose of perceptiveness and emotion and feeling, okay? And so a creative person, the reason they're creative is because they're able to look at something that's ugly and have these feelings of how can I make this more beautiful? Creative people are the biggest feelers on the face of the planet. So what I'm coaching right now is, thousands of women every month who are women and who are creatives and who are a bunch of feelers. And so when I get them in a space and I see how so many of them are feeling wounded. And it's because, so the very amazing way God created you, the enemy is turning it and he's trying to use it for evil. So you were created to be super sensitive, to be super sensitive to the needs of your family and the needs of your children and the needs of your clients and the things that your clients want you to do. You were created to be able to read between the lines. So when a client tells you, well, I kind of want gold, but not goldy gold, that you know exactly how to paint that piece of furniture. You are able to read between the lines. But also in doing that, you're able to read between the lines with people that are maybe saying something, but they ain't saying something, but you know darn good and well what they're saying. Can I get a yes and an amen? And so creative people even want to retreat more when they get that first nasty email, that negative comment, the people wondering what in the heck they're doing, the people saying, are you sure that you're going to do this business thing? And so here is what I want you guys to know, all right? This is so normal at every level. And I promise you, as you grow your business, unfortunately, you're going to have more. You're going to have more BS thrown your way. I honestly believe it's because the Lord needs to know, can you handle it at this level? And so how do you handle it? That becomes the bottom line. I did a whole podcast on this that it came out today on iTunes. It's not on our website quite yet because the doors to our inner circle are just doing a quick reopen today and tomorrow, and we're caught up in that, and so we didn't get the podcast quite done yet, but we will. And so if you already subscribed to my podcast, you maybe have already heard it this morning. So how do you deal with the non-approval of others? Okay, there's a couple things that I need you to know. Number one, I need you to think of and figure out for you your basic algebra problem. How many of you like algebra? Me. I loved math, and I love math now. Okay, so you know how when you were in junior high and you had kids that did like spelling bees? Okay, I did math bees. I did a math bee because I love numbers, and what a weird thing that is, right? So think back to algebra. When 10 is greater than 4, and 36 is greater than 2, and 14 is lesser than 20. Now here's what I want you to think of. On one side of that mathematical equation, you have the opinions of others. I need you to figure out what is greater than the opinions of others for you, because that's the thing that when you get that gripey, negative comment sent to you on Facebook, is not going to cause you to go suck your thumb in the corner for the next month and retreat backwards. What is on the other side of the mathematical equation for you? Let me give you an example. Here's my 3. I was talking with the woman that's writing my book proposal about this the other day. Here's my 3 things in my personal algebra problem of life. What is more important to me than failure? What is more important to me than the opinions of others? Number 1, God's call on my life. God's call on my life, personally, will always trump the opinions of people I do not know on the internet. And I need somebody to give me a yes and an amen for that. So the first time you step out and you decide, I'm going to offer an ebook on blah, 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 and somebody starts griping about your price. Or the first time you sell a course and somebody sends you an email that they're not happy with what they learned in it. Or the first time you hear from so-and-so that so-and-so was bad talking you at... Come on, ladies, you know what I'm talking about. I need you to think, am I doing right now what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing? Am I able to go to bed every night sleeping with a really clean conscience? And if not, the prayer of yours needs to be, Lord, create in me a pure heart, okay? And get straight with God first. Number 2, but if you're doing that, the number 2 is, if you are doing what you feel like you're supposed to be doing, that should always trump for you over the opinions of anybody else. Because I know that what other people think of me does not matter nearly as much as what God thinks of me. And when I get to heaven someday and he says, Jennifer, babe, I think that's how God talks. Girlfriend, Jen. So glad you're here in heaven. Remember how I was nudging you to coach all those ladies? Like, girl, I gave you the talent to do that. I brought resources to you to do that. I gave you the time to do that. I opened up time in your schedule. I gave you all the pushes. Why didn't you do that thing? And for me to be like, well, Lord, I got a couple of crappy Facebook messages from complete strangers who they don't even know me. And also my brother-in-law, I'm just kidding. My brother-in-laws are all great. My brother-in-law said it would probably fail and I was scared. None of that is going to matter. So for me, God's call in my life always trumps the opinions of others, okay? Number 2, setting a good example for my children will always trump the opinions of others. So for those of you moms who are at home right now and you've got a business idea and you kind of told some of your friends about it because you were hopeful that they would be like, girl, go with that. And instead they were like, I don't know. Ooh, I don't know. Are you going to leave the safety of that PTO to kind of go for that dream? And you're a little nervous. Okay. So for those of you doing that, but you have kids, right? And you're sitting down at the dinner table every night with your children, and your kids are, you're having your conversation about life, and your kids are wanting to make friends with people, and you're telling them, honey, you got to just go up and you got to introduce yourself. Okay, and you got to do that afraid. Like, don't be afraid of trying out for the volleyball team you've never played volleyball before. Like, I believe in you. You can do this. And then you yourself, mom, are cowering internally because of the opinions of others. Like, that doesn't fly. You can't have it both ways, because with your children, more is caught than taught. All right. So you can talk to them about bravery all you want, but until they see their mother physically walking it out, they cannot grasp it. So it cannot be talk, moms. I love you. So for me, number 1 is God's call in my life. Number 2 is the example I'm setting for my children. Number 3 is my family needs to eat. I'm guessing your family does too. And thank you guys for sharing this. And I'm feeling a little bit passionate. I'm so sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. You know what? God created me this way, and I am not sorry one bit. I do have sweat rolling down my back into my shorts right now, but just know that I love you and it's worth it. Okay? So number 3. What was number 3? Oh, that my family needs to eat. So there are times when the opinions of others, it makes me want to say this. Is it just even freaking worth it? I mean, does anybody know what I'm saying? Are there times when you two in your business are like, this is so hard. It's so hard to push myself every day, feeling like nobody understands, and the pressure of knowing, that I need to make the right decisions, and should I go this way and offer this, or should I go this way or offer that? Anybody know that pressure I'm talking about? Okay, so what often will get me through the day when I'm feeling pressured, and then also hearing the chitter chatter of anybody that's not on board with what I may be doing, it's easy for me to go, screw it. Screw it. Screw it, screw them, screw everything. I mean, that I think is human nature. Instead, the thing that will get me through that is knowing that I have a family to feed. And Mr. Magic has come home from corporate America. So at this point, and he's obviously working with me in the business, but there's now that added component of, I have a family to feed. And for you, maybe it's not that. Maybe your spouse hasn't come home to work in your business with you, but maybe you need new tires on the van. Maybe you want to take a vacation for this year. Maybe you want to put your kid in soccer lessons or private school or dance or whatever it is. Figure out for you what is on the other side of the opinions of others. I promise you, the Bible says in Proverbs 29 that the approval of man is a snare. It's a trap. It's a trap that the enemy will use to always, so you're going along, you're doing what you're supposed to do, you will get thrown the crappy approval of somebody, because the intention of the enemy is always to make you retreat. And you have to know that. And I need you to know that every single one of you who are in my coaching, you're not in my coaching, you don't even have a business, I don't care what it is that we're talking about, but the enemy is always going to use people to discourage you from doing the very thing that God is asking you to do. So for you, figure out what is on the other side of that greater sign, so that when you get that nasty email from someone, you can look at it and say, okay, is there truth to this? Because I think a mature person says, is there truth to this? So is there truth to what they're saying? If there's truth to what they're saying, can I extract that and learn from it and make things better? Okay, but if there's no truth to that, then babe, you don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them a response. You owe them 0. You owe nobody but one person anything. And so I want you to look at that. Is there truth to it? Nope. Okay, next. And when you can begin to do that and operate in your business without worrying about what other people are going to think of you, because they're all going to have opinions. I promise you, people are going to have opinions on what it is that you're doing, and they're going to think that they could do it so much better than what you're doing. And listen, let me tell you something. I have had people come to me that have worked for me in the past and come back to me with an apology of, gosh, Jen, I thought it would be easier than what it was. And when I went on my own, I could not believe how hard it was. I'm so sorry that I judged you for things like showing up at a job site and forgetting paint rollers when you owned a paint company, because that was my hot mess of a life. Okay. And you would think, and when people came back, I wasn't like, yes, that feels so good. I wasn't like that at all. What the heck's my point of this story? I don't know. Just know that I'm for you. Just know that I'm for you. I'll remember at 3 o'clock in the morning what my point of that story was. Why can't I even see the comments right now? Okay, let me see. Hang on. I'm focusing my eyes. Everyone has an opinion and everyone's an expert. Oh yeah, Christy, and people always have an opinion on what they would do in your business until, thank you for bringing me back to what my point was, until they often do it themselves and they're like, oh, not quite so easy. And you know, one of the other things we were talking about on my coaching call in the inner circle this morning was this. If you have never taken the DISC profile, it's D-I-S-C, like C for cat. I want you to get off this call with me and go take that test, because there's a free test online. And Jason and I took the DISC profile test, I would say 20 years ago, and it wasn't free, but it was amazing. So basically on the DISC profile, hi babe.
Hi.
Are you coming out to say hello?
I am.
Are you?
I just my hair just for that.
You just came out just to say hi? Are you going to grill? It's 5 million degrees and he might be grilling. But essentially, when you take the DISC profile test, it'll basically give you the way that you are wired in your personality so that you understand why you react the way you do and behave the way you do. Okay, so I just need you to know I can't see one stinking comment. Okay, wait. Shelly says, I can read that. Let me see if I take this inside, if it's any better. I'm in the shade, but hang on. I think it's just my eyes. And also, every time I've been going live lately, I still can't see it in the house. My phone lighting has gone down. I think it's that problem. Oh, hey, my husband made me lunch. Hang on. We got caprese salad, folks. Caprese salad. But, now I lost my train of thought. Oh, the DISC profile. So on the DISC profile test, I am a high S, which means I like stability. No drama. I like security. I don't like a lot of roller coasters. I like people to like me. If you're on the S of the DISC profile, you are basically like the golden retrievers of the world. So just, you know, somebody like me, somebody like me, somebody like me. And so high S's make great creatives. We are great artists, writers, communicators. We're great friends. We are great people to have in your corner for support. We are fantastic at building relationships and keeping relationships, but we're also the easiest to be wounded. And so for those of you who perhaps know what you are, my friend Kathy Miller says she's an SC. I'm an SI, Kathy. Take that test and it'll help you to understand why some people are the wounders and some people are the woundies. And remember that too, when people are sending you nasty grams and complaining or what have you, often what they're complaining about or the way that they're saying it says way more about them and way less about you. Now that doesn't often help you to feel better probably in the moment, but it is helpful to just remember that it says way more about them. And I am convinced that for those of you who are business owners, and you have issues with other business owners. Perhaps those business owners are talking smack on your Facebook page, leaving you bad comments, giving you bad reviews, causing drama in general. I'm convinced that God does not honor any of that activity. So I want you to rise above, and you, instead of responding to that with a curse, I want you to respond with a blessing. And sometimes that means not responding at all. And don't shrink to that level, okay? Don't shrink to that level. So thank you guys for sharing this. Here's what's going to happen. Some of you are going to need to remind yourself of this pep talk next week because you're a business owner and you're easily wounded, like me, and you're going to need to remind yourself of what it means when people are negative or not in your corner. So I want you to share this to your own personal page, so that you can re-listen to it and re-watch it again next week when you need it, okay? So, all right, bless you guys. I appreciate you being here. Leslie, thank you for saying that this page is blessed. Thank you. And Tammy, people do need to hear that. I think sometimes business owners are often really surprised when they get their first negative comment, person emailing, calling, asking for a refund or whatever. This is part of business. So prove yourself to be faithful at this level so that God knows he can elevate you to the next one. Understand that you cannot make everyone happy. You are not. What is it, baby? What is it that makes everybody happy? Is it pink starbursts? Or is it, what's the saying? You are not guacamole. You can't make everyone happy. You're not sprinkled cupcakes. I don't remember. Whatever it is, you're not that, okay? And you can be the juiciest peach in the whole wide world, and you will still find someone who doesn't like peaches. So just know, business owners, women, friends, people listening, that you are not for everyone. And you have got to reconcile that in your head, or as a business owner, it is going to cut you to the core when people are not on board with what you're doing, okay? All right, my friends, bless you guys. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm honored to have you. I appreciate you. I know several of you have joined the inner circle this morning, and I am so honored to have you there. We're just open today and tomorrow, so thank you for those of you who have already joined us. So, all right, bless you guys. I'm going to eat some lunch.